Thanks
Got
so much, Jackie, for being here.
Sure, Shay.
So
You. We had a
I'm
little
good.
technical difficulties, but now we're good to go.
Yes, we did. And that was all my fault. So apologies.
Oh,
But thank you for being here. I think this is a great opportunity to just share a little bit about your experience being one of my clients. So, how did you first hear about Shea Teneri Nutrition, and what made you say, I want to reach out and learn more?
so I had met you, obviously, you became one of my clients through hair and makeup, and I knew that you had started this career. And then I found you on social media. And that's how I originally found you. I found your business site on social media,
Mhm.
and then I started following you and your business and not your personal page, which is, what is it?
SheaTeneri.rd.
That's right.
Yes.
Um, so I just started following your posts, and it was probably about like 4 months maybe that I had been following you to then I decided to reach out to you.
Mhm. Awesome.
So I found you through
And
social.
do you remember specific if there was something specific that I posted or that you saw that you were like, I want to learn more about that?
Yeah, on your stories, you had posted something. I don't remember specifically the exact thing, but I know like the subject matter, and it was something about um, like sugar and like, what if I eat this and what's going to happen to me? And it was something about how specific foods may or may not affect your body.
Okay. Okay. And so that kind of segues into the next question, which I feel like goes well together with like your history with your relationship with food. So,
Mhm.
second was how has your relationship with food changed throughout the process of working together over these past 8 months? So, thinking about what was your relationship with food like prior and what is it like now?
Before I answer that question, can I also mention I didn't know what intuitive eating was. I reached
Mhm.
out to you blindly, having no idea what type of coaching you were, what
Mhm.
kind of coaching you did.
Okay.
So
Yep.
I say that before I started. I actually thought very opposite of what you did for a living. Once I, oh, okay, now I'm trying this intuitive eating path. This is going to be um so it was quite different. And then we had a one-on-one, and then you
Mhm.
then told me what intuitive eating was, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, let's try it. So can you ask me that question again then, because I
Yes.
just forgot.
And I appreciate you being open and honest about that too, because I think that'll also help people realize that like you don't have to know what it is to even like start to improve your relationship with food. So I appreciate you sharing
Okay,
that.
yeah, of course.
Um, so the question is, how has your relationship with food changed throughout this process of intuitive eting?
Hmm. It's still changing.
Mhm.
And how long? Like
It's been
five?
eight months.
It has.
Yeah,
Wow, that's crazy.
I know.
Anyway, it's changed dramatically, and it's still continuing to change. And it's not like a closed book change.
Mhm.
It's constantly evolving and constantly changing. It's changed for the better, because I'm not obsessively thinking about food. So yeah, it's quite, get teary eyed, but yeah,
Oh,
it's really different now, very different. I don't
yeah.
know my food intake as much as I did before, and it's not taking over my life.
Wow. That's
That's how.
so yeah, and that's so powerful. And I feel like we both get emotional during sessions too, because this work is really powerful.
Yeah.
It's life changing. And I know that you've shared before that like coming into this, like I don't think you knew exactly what to expect.
Oh my
Like
God. Yeah. I don't. There's like this how many proteins you need to have, the carbohydrates you need to have. Like, I thought that I was just going to dive into deeper of maybe what I was already attempting to do.
yeah,
And a
yes,
coach, I thought that intuitive eating was like, yeah, you're going to listen to yourself, but I'm going to tell you exactly how you need to eat. So it's
right.
very, when I started working with you, it's funny.
And I was gonna say, like, did I do that? Did I tell you like eat this, eat that?
Wow. Wow. And it's funny because now it's like when we talk about food, I have a whole different perspective on it, because I
Yeah.
describe it as a certain way where now it's just food.
Yes.
So
Yes. And can you like share a little bit how like day to day has changed, or like what about, because you had mentioned like feeling like you're not thinking about food all the time, like what has that opened up then for you to be able to do other things, right, without having that brain space obsessing or thinking about food all the time, or sugar, thinking about
yeah.
sugar.
So for me, it wasn't like a constant daily battle, but it would, I think like any dieter or any person that goes through ebbs and flows of nutrition, it's like, you have your weeks where you think that you're like on your A game and doing all the right things. So then I would go through that cycle. And then there would be cycles where I just didn't give, a crap. And then I would go through that cycle. And then I would
Mhm.
start differently about my body. So it was like this constant um, roller coaster of feeling a certain way about myself physically, but then also having the battle of my relationship with food.
Yeah.
But then I would go back to what I thought was like unhealthy eating and then going back into like depressed thoughts about myself. So it was like this
Mhm.
horrible cycle that there was no balance. Like it was either I was giving up one for the other, you know?
Mhm.
And there'd be some days, which I had told you was like, it was like this epiphany. I was like, you know what, Shay, I actually, for the first time in a long time, haven't woke up and said, oh God, like how many hours can I go without sugar today? Because that was my thing that I struggled with, meaning um like my personal journey with intuitive eating has been more focused on sugar because that's where I thought that I had obsessive thoughts and obsessive patterns of like having it, not having it, doing the
Mhm.
for like years and years, and then thinking that that was like the right way and realizing that I couldn't sustain that. And then certain situations would come along, whether it's a holiday or whether it's a fun event, and then I would be dreading it because I would think that I couldn't have it, because I like set these boundaries for myself.
Yeah.
I realized it was just putting more stress on my life. So now it's like, sorry, I forgot to turn off my notifications. Now it's like I just get up and I don't even really think about what I'm going to eat. I just think about what do I want.
What a transformation. I mean, I still remember just like our beginning work with your relationship with sugar. And I'm proud of you. I hope that you are proud of yourself for just taking those scary first steps, and allowing yourself to have that food.
Mhm.
Because look at your relationship with sugar now.
Yeah, you were like, see, you're addicted, like you thought you were.
Yes,
Yeah,
right. The sugar addiction, I feel like, was it was something that was really challenging for you at the beginning. And just recognize, like, we just had this conversation recently. I'm like, do you think that you're addicted to sugar? You were like, no, I don't.
yeah. So I know we don't really get into a lot of detail of what we talk about in sessions, but I will share what I would be willing to share, which is like
Yeah.
to tell me I want one of the steps. I don't know what number it is. You have to tell me in the 10 steps of intuitive eating is stop the food police, which is like a big one that I always keep gravitating back to because I think like in any step program, you find the steps that relate most to your life and then you keep reflecting on those steps and like you have to coach yourself back through those steps again. So that's always one that I reflect to. And I don't know what number it is, but and I like how you can go out of order. Number 4. Okay. I'm always on 4. Um, so it's like, stop being the food police. So it's like, stop judging yourself, stop telling yourself that you can or cannot have that,
Mhm.
stop, um, you know, basically stop setting yourself up prior to what you're going to eat. So one of the things that you encouraged me to do in our counseling session was I want you to go to the grocery store and I want you to allow yourself to buy whatever you want to buy. And that was really overwhelming and kind of scary because she said, well, what are you scared of? And I was like, honestly, to gain weight. And I didn't mean it in like to be negative or put down anybody else, but that was just something that I personally struggled with. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And it was actually really fun in the beginning because I was
Oh,
like, putting anything in the cart that I like was like, I never even knew these existed, or like, I would love to try that. And I was like getting everything junky, and like Matt like, open the pantry, is like, whoa, this intuitive eating is awesome. Like every awesome thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I like went on this bandwagon for a few weeks. And then all of a sudden I was like, I can't have another cookie right now. Like I am cookied out, or I am sweet out. And I just wanted, and then I was also realizing I was more in tune with how it was affecting. I was like physically feeling a little bit more tired and just, not having the energy that I usually have. So now I'm realizing I'm not addicted
Right.
and totally enjoy it. And I still eat it. I just had a half of Whole Foods brown butter chocolate chip cookie before I
Oh,
got on. Oh, they're so
that
good.
sounds so good.
Yeah. Anyway, and now I'm like, cool. And I only wanted the half, where before I probably would have eaten the whole because I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to have this again. And got, right.
Yes. Yes. So like,
I'll
I
have it like,
thank you for reflecting on that and just sharing your process with how you started to make peace with your relationship with sugar and how you started to make those changes. And really, it was like allowing it in,
yeah, yeah,
right? And then over time, like recognizing how this feels and reminding yourself, like, I'm allowed to eat this food. I can have this food at any time. And then you are kind of put in the driver's seat, right? You can decide this is what I want for my lunch or with my lunch on the side. Or it's like, nah, I'm good today. I don't want that today.
yeah,
Versus before it was like probably this control of like
yes,
there's this restriction piece or feeling mentally bad about it or physically bad about it. And then deciding like, no, I can't do that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm in
And
the best shape in my life. So it hasn't affected my physical, well-being, you know. So it's just like all about balance, like I guess kind of everything in life. And um, yeah, I mean, there are definitely days that I go back and sometimes and I'm like, okay, why am I feeling this way? Did I look at something recently on social media to make me feel this way? Was I going down the comparing path? Did I maybe I've been working and I hadn't been exercising like as much as I usually like to. And I should point out that I exercise mainly for the physical, like feeling, the
mhm.
high, my
Yeah.
head and clearing my head. It's not so much. So anyway, back to that. But now I'm feeling like better than I ever have in my life. And I'm feeling more balanced.
Yeah, of course. And I really appreciate you sharing about that it's still a process, like it's still a journey. Like it's not like at the end of it, like you're still reflecting, you're still being mindful of your feelings and your thoughts and your emotions. And you have ups and downs and challenges, and that's so just normal in life, with other things too. So I appreciate you sharing that. Um, what do you feel like has been your biggest takeaway, and that can be a hard question, but what has been your biggest takeaway from doing intuitive eating so far?
Learning that the term healthy is like all BS, you know,
Yes.
that, it's like we are so embedded with the health market. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I was gonna buy this kombucha and it said health aid kombucha. And I'm like, see, people buy that just because of that.
I know.
Why? Because it tastes good.
Right. Right. It's
Um,
like, what is that intention,
yeah,
behind like purchasing something, right? Like, and that in like healthy, there is no actual like definition of what that means.
right. And like things that you taught me, how like the BMI is so archaic and that everybody has so many different body types and even in the same family. And, we all are healthy at different sizes and
Hmm.
feelings and I always give like the marathon example. Like when you go to a marathon, you see all shapes and sizes, and some people may eat chocolate covered M&M donuts before and after the run, and that works great for them. Like when I learned about Michael Phelps and intuitive eating, how he was like, the quote junkiest eater, an unhealthy eater, and he was a world-class athlete. Like there's just
Right.
different are examples of, you know, eating cookies are not going to kill you, you know.
Right. That should be the mantra.
Doctors are like telling you to always lose weight. It's like the easy card, but there is health at all different sizes and You really should just enjoy your life, and also being in tune with like how food physically makes you feel too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just kind of like slow down, or I'll give myself a timer and go, okay, let me see how full I really am, because our eyes are always bigger than our stomachs. And then sometimes I don't want to feel uncomfortable. And then today, or like the other night at dinner, I was like, I'm going to have dessert and I'm going to feel uncomfortable. And I don't care, because I'd rather feel uncomfortable now than like maybe right before I fell asleep. But anyway, so I think
Right.
it's so different for everybody. That's the biggest takeaway, that, health comes in all forms and sizes, and that it's going to be a different experience for everybody. And to really trust yourself, that was the biggest thing, that I had more trust in myself than I thought. Because at first I thought I was just like, this is going to be this out of control situation, uh,
Mm-hmm.
which they even talk about the book. So it's really like your guide to help you go through all the different emotions that you'll go through with intuitive eating.
Mm-hmm.
And so many similarities that I remember in the beginning of the book thinking, why do you think that you need intuitive eating? Like, are you constantly judging yourself? Are you constantly walking into a room and comparing yourself to others? And, so it's been very refreshing, and just knowing that, you know, I don't know about you, but I love food and that's life. So
Yes. I love that so much. There's so many things I want to say, but I will just say I'm honored to be on this journey with you. And I'm really just so proud of you for doing this. I know that it's hard, but what you just said of like trusting yourself, like that is why I do the work that I do, because I want you to feel that way. I want you to feel like you don't have to Google or ask providers, should I eat this way or what should I do? Like we have the wisdom to be able to take care of ourselves in every way,
yeah,
so for you to feel like you've been able to trust yourself or build that trust, that's just makes me so happy. um,
I think you talk to a neighbor or somebody that you're walking with, you're like, oh, this has been working for me for years and it's going to work for
mhm,
you. Like, our bodies are so different. That may not work for you, and that's okay. And
yeah.
uh, I definitely think it's something that you learn as you get older, unfortunately. Like, I feel like it's so unfair how long it takes for us to learn and trust ourselves. Um,
Right.
it's like, I went into this in my 30s, now I'm in my 40s and I'm learning all the same. And yeah, just the way you coach too is like, you're very approachable, you're very easy to talk to,
Oh,
you're warm and kind, and you're of course an amazing listener, but you really know how to like ask the right questions to like for us to find the answers. Because I think sometimes when you go to any kind of therapy, you think, it's the easy way out for somebody to tell you what to do, right?
mhm.
Why a lot of us gravitate towards dieting programs, because we don't know how to trust, or we think that we can't develop that relationship of trust. So we'll go, well, if I just follow this way, this is the right way and this is going to work for me.
Mhm.
But now I'm realizing that you can trust yourself, and you're built with this body that's intuitive, and that you can, live a healthy, fulfilled eating life without restrictions.
Yes, I love that so much. And thank you for your kind words. This leads into our last question is, would you recommend working with Shea Teneri Nutrition? Why or why not?
Okay. That's kind of a hard question to, obviously I'm only going to give one answer to that because bias, but that's where you're asking me. Yes, I would say that even if you don't know anything about intuitive eating, just try it. And you are going to go through probably a month of going, what the heck am I doing? Whatever spectrum you might be on, and just know, like, trust the process, as they say. I hate that terminology, but it is true. Like, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you'll see that it is, a changing experience for yourself. And you're just, the guilt that you can let go of yourself is really, really just uplifting. And so, yeah. And I like working with Shay again for the reasons that you don't feel like she's being critical, and you almost feel like she gets it, like she understands.
Aw,
So
thanks. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. And it's been such,
Knowledgeable. Like you have so many different avenues of where you're bringing in your information from. So yeah.
thanks, Jackie. I really appreciate that. It's been such an honor, like doing this work with you. You know, I say this to you, to my clients, like you are the expert, right? Like I am not the expert here. I am not the expert of your body. You are. I'm really just the guide to help you reconnect with yourself and build that confidence. So I really, really appreciate that.
Sure, you're welcome. Anytime.